a lot of salad up in this bowl.
Oh my goodness. Like that was transformational. Like I've never seen a person remove a hat and change into another person as much as you did just there. Hey everybody, it's the late night happy hour. Brian Kamenetsky and Andy Kamenetsky. I know for those of you who were watching last night, you were promised an Octobox. But that isn't happening yet, but we have a Septo box, which is still a record as we welcome the Lauer After Hours crew to the late night happy hour. A lot of people in here. And so I thought, Andy, it would make sense, first of all, for everybody just to say who they are, because it's a lot of folks. So we'll start here. You know me, I'm Brian. And then the next to me is Andy. And then we'll just go clockwise from there.
How you doing? My name is at Beep Count on Twitter and on Instagram. I'm the executive producer of Lour After Hours, main editor, do some of the hosting of the episodes and some of the music creation as well.
Was that your Christian name? At Beep Count on Twitter?
Your government name?
Given. Yes, that is the given name.
Very forward-looking parents.
How's it going? I'm Jeff. I'm in Southern California, at Los Jiv on Twitter. I am part of the Friday night Laughter the Club pod every week, and just kind of general contributor and jackass of all trades.
This is Ant in Brooklyn, out in New York, at Stiano on Twitter. I'm one of the mainstays on Midweek Benches, our sort of midweek pod that we put out. And as Jeff just said, general jackassery whenever possible.
And I'm Lou Raptor in sales, a.k.a. Floyd in sales, a.k.a. Bruce in sales, at Stugatz Army 790. And I am the hat welder for the Lour After Hours crew.
The haberdasher?
No, close. Hat welder. I could be the haberdasher of hats, yes, too.
The hatberdasher.
And Jeanette?
Yes, last but certainly not least, I'm Jeanette at jher17 on Twitter. Here, Angelino. Much like Jeff, I'm also on the Friday show, Laughter the Club, general contributor, and I'm the nice one of the group.
This was we've never done anything like this before with multiple introductions.
And what I learned here is Ant doesn't understand clockwise, because technically speaking, after Jeff, Jeanette should have gone next, but that's okay.
Sorry,
this is like the least consequential AA meeting ever with people introducing themselves.
All right, so explain for people who don't know what Lour After Hours is. Explain like what is, like, why are we here? Like, what is your show, and how did this happen?
So over the summer of 2020, a few of us got together. Backing up, we're all huge Dan Le Batard show with Stu Gotts fans, super fans, you can call us. And we got together and said, hey, let's just have a couple of Zoom meetings. Let's, get drunk together on a Friday night and just Zoom. And that turned into, hey, let's create a podcast. And then it kind of spiraled into 8 people in the Zoom, and then 15 people in the Zoom. And then next thing you know, we're getting Israel Gutierrez on the podcast. And then we have, Mike Golick Jr. and Jason Fitz. And then we talked to the producers from the Le Batard show, like Chris Cody and Billy Gill and Roy Bellamy. And now it's turning into this, giant chat of, 20 people on podcast interviewing, the Kamenetsky brothers. And as you just saw, Magnus ver Magnus. So yeah, and here we are.
How did you guys, and Lou can answer this one next, or assuming Lou was part of this inception, whoever would be appropriate to ask, we're trying to play a little traffic cop here. Sure. How did you guys actually find each other though? Like gravitate towards each other to realize you guys were all Le Batard fans?
I think it was all through Twitter. That's where, so at Mike Ryan fan account, he caught him and Steak Sauce. So if you guys listen to the Le Batard show, Steak Sauce has been on. It was on the Helping Container recently, and he met up with Sarah Spain, and so it's one of those things. I think Steak Sauce got on one of the earlier parts of the show. So it's like, I follow at Steak Sauce. So then me and Steak Sauce becomes friends. And then Steak Sauce adds me to the group. And then also we're all friends. I think it's all through Twitter, right? I mean, would you guys agree? Like we all met through Twitter. And now we're all in group chats on Twitter. And we, probably spend more time talking to each other on Twitter than we actually do our families.
I mean, are your families in favor of that, or are they upset about it? Like, how do they react to this?
For me,
go ahead.
No, I say like I think my wife understands it. Like like all of us who have spouses or significant others, most of us don't get the show so much, and they're just like, y'all crazy. But I'm glad that you have someone to talk to and not me about it.
Yeah, I would also say similar to that. Also, my wife doesn't really like the show; it sort of annoys her. So she likes that I found an outlet where I could talk to others. The Levitard show. No,
Okay.
No, she's been in bed for 4 hours, so she ain't up for you guys, unfortunately. But she likes that I found an outlet that's positive and found people that I get along with and could chat with at the same time every so often. She's like, "This again? Another Zoom call with so and so?" Yes, honey. Yes. So.
Well, I am impressed. Like you guys have a tremendous following with the podcast, many hundreds of ratings. And although I was very disappointed to find if this is actually him, Magnus Bear Magnuson gave you guys a very low rating despite having been on the show. So I'm hoping that's not actually strongman Magnus Bear Magnuson. But if it is, why? What did you do to him that made him hate your show so much? I listened to that episode. It seemed innocent enough.
Brian, I think you got fooled by the internet again.
Oh, thank God.
Yeah, especially because the person he was making fun of was not actually on the pod. He didn't do that episode.
Thank God.
It was totally like,
Yeah, there's no shark swimming in the streets of Houston right now. So
no.
Oh well, I mean,
one of the things that I think is we'll get to some topics and stuff in a second here. But one of the things I think is interesting about what you guys do is that it is so many people doing like so many different kinds of shows like all the time. Like so. I guess Beep is your job to sort of herd all these things together, but like, how did this evolve into the program that you have? Because that to me is kind of fascinating.
So I guess it kind of started once we started running out of guests to have. We kind of ran through the whole Levitard stable and said, well, what do we do now? And we came up with the idea to let's just start recapping the show that we all love and listen to. So we recap the beginning of the week with the post game show, then the midweek mentions, and then on the weekend it's Laugh at the Club. And we have 3 different groups that are about 7 to 10 people in those groups, and we just kind of all get together and drink and have fun and just shoot the shit. Just cut it up like a bunch of mentions.
Yeah, and I would also add to that. Part of the reason I think that structure kind of evolved was there was at some point we were having, we'd have one person on, and I don't remember exactly what our max was, but I mean, I think we probably had 25, 26 people interviewing one person at one point. Like at the absolute max, and it got to be like I remember particularly there was one episode, I believe it was Billy Gill, that I think Beep took over 6 hours editing, then lost the file and had to re-edit. And then at that point we're like, okay, maybe we should try to structure this a little bit.
I mean, that's like the equivalent of it. Is it Chris or Billy that was in charge of the useless sound montages?
That's Billy.
Yeah, the equivalent of when Billy gets stuck in that hell, or used to get stuck in that hell when the show was still with ESPN. So, like that, I feel for you along those lines. Like, have you guys? I mean, because there's a lot of, as you said, you guys will recap the show, and you'll get into topics that they talked about, whether with ESPN or in the current independent inception. But there are times where your show takes on similar vibes to their show. So a couple things I want to know. First of all, like, who among the regulars most resembles which character on Levitard? Like, who's the Levitard? Who's the Stu Gatz? Who's the Roy?
Well, based on hair alone, I think Beep is Levitard. Because they have things going on under their hats.
You got quite the Levitard hair going right now.
That was I mean to say that I am still just awed and frankly jealous is an understatement. That is glorious.
Okay. I mean, did you just decide, Beep, that like you're not cutting your hair until Levitard cuts his, like method acting, something like that? Like you've taken on the role of Levitard that much?
No. So my real job, I work
hair model
in retail. Yes, hair model. No, I work in retail. So obviously with the current climate, I'm in contact with people too much as it is. I've got a wife and I've got 2 kids. One of them just turned 2, another one's 7 months old. So I'm not getting my hair cut until everyone can get vaccinated and I feel safe enough to go actually out and get the haircut. So I cut my hair at the beginning of the pandemic, so like middle of March of 2020, and then when I started my new position, I got it cut September 4th, and then I haven't had it cut since. So in a year, I've had 1 haircut.
Yeah, I do feel like this is the thing that I've missed out. There's not a lot of FOMO that goes on in the pandemic because nobody really is doing anything. But I do feel like the opportunity to just let your hair go crazy has been something that I've missed out on. Like it's not a trend that I've been able to participate in.
There was a period in my life. I mean, look at this.
Oh,
where
God.
Look
any
at that.
Excuse to show the picture.
That was me.
Yeah, I was going to say, Andy, every time you get a chance, man.
Yes, I do. I mean, wouldn't you? Look at that. That is glorious. Look at that hair.
That's fair.
This is the equivalent. This is Andy's equivalent.
It is very Gavin Rosdale.
Slapping the bass.
This is Andy's equivalent of the Michael Thompson photo that he likes to show of himself in the Bahamas, what he calls the guns photo, the biceps photo. And I know we'll talk a little bit about Michael. Yes, he does.
Yes, he shows it to everybody, every opportunity he ever gets. I've seen that photo multiple times. Like he has no hesitation about breaking that thing out and making sure exactly what he looked like in like 1979 in a Speedo. Like he wants you to see this.
Yeah, so back to your question though, really quick about who's who. So I think he's not here right now, but our point guard generally, Will at I guess Wapple House now on Twitter, but I think he's our Mike Ryan. I would say he's our Mike Ryan. He kind of he's very talented in a lot of ways, but he's good at running the show. I have been called Billy Gill because I tend to take a long time to get a question out, and then I ramble and think to myself in the middle of the question, and then repeat it again. I don't know who else do we got? Who's our Roy? Who's our Chris?
Chris would be Drake.
Yeah,
sneaky athletic. You don't really expect much from him, but what you get from him is pretty spectacular.
There you go.
So what is it? And we'll get to some of the shenanigans that we have planned. But why do you think the Levitard show has like sort of developed like this? Because I mean, I don't want to necessarily call you guys a cult.
No, we're a cult. We're a cult.
Okay, yep. I'll go ahead and call you a cult then, since you seem so comfortable with it. What about the show, though? Kind of lends itself to that because, look, I mean, it is a certain. When the 710 ESPN carried the Levitard show for a very brief moment, it replaced Colin Cowherd on our air back when it was still our air. Now it's their air, and we have nothing to do with it. I would have told everybody that was not going to work because
actually, I'm pretty sure we did tell everybody.
I'm pretty sure we did actually. Levitard's show exists to mock Colin's audience, so like that wasn't going to work. So what about it though? That's why I like it. But what about it for you guys? And you think just generally makes it so the people who like it, the people who do get it, love it so much. Who wants to start? Just raise your hand. Go ahead, Art. Or Ant, sorry.
So I think what it is, or one of the things that I really like, is that there's so many different facets. Like you've got Dan, the smart guy. You've got, Stu, who's the liar part. Chris is the oaf. You've got Roy, who's very short. They're all different sort of sides of not all of us, but you probably have a little bit of an intelligent side in yourself and a conniving side, and you're a little bit athletic, but you're not. And sometimes you talk too much. And so all the pieces sort of fit together into something that grows a whole show or the family aspect of it, where everybody's sort of invested on their end. It just makes you more invested on your end, I guess. Or that's what it does it for me anyway. Go ahead, Jeff.
Yeah, and I would add to that I think for me, one of the biggest things is it's taught me to laugh at myself. And what I mean by that is like what you're talking about. It's a show that exists to mock Colin Cowherd's audience and but in doing that, they have to make fun of themselves, right? So like the whole concept is, screw it, we're not going to take this seriously. This is just sports. Really it comes down to it, as much as we all love it, we're talking about a ball going through a hoop or something like that, and it's not life or death. And so they kind of dive into making themselves the butt of the joke, and that's not something I was particularly good at until I was like, wait, they're embracing this in a cool way that makes it better to be the butt of the joke than not to be. If that makes any sense.
The Dan Le Batard show's made you a better person.
Yeah, it has.
Wow. Jeanette?
Yeah, I also wanted to add the level of fan engagement that you get on a day-to-day basis, or when they are on, I should say, also helps, because if, you might be someone that works a regular 9-to-5 job and you have a hobby of, playing the guitar or, writing jokes or something like that, and you tweet at them, hey, here's a song that I wrote about, Chris Cody, or here's a looks like submission that I have about, JJ Watt or Ben Roethlisberger. And if it meets their standards, you get the retweet, and then you're just like, cool. Or when they are, slow news day, it's like, hey, come on, call the number and give us your best basketball swoosh impersonation. And you have people, filling up the phone lines trying to just go, whoosh. Yes! Perfect. I couldn't do it. I'm sorry.
I got you.
It's not the weather for swooshing. It's too much rain.
There's a lot of rain going on right now. It's crazy. It's crazy when you see Los Angeles react to rain.
It's fantastic. It's the three things. It's all the top three things, Andy. It's weather, it's earthquakes, and car chases.
Yeah,
nothing gets us fired up like that.
Earthquake Twitter is insane in LA. I've joked before that earthquakes did not exist until the advent of Twitter. I don't know how we actually verified that an earthquake happened until we invented Twitter.
And on the flip side, though, Twitter really took out John Ireland's idea for the car chase channel, because that's kind of been made obsolete at this point.
That is true. That was John's big thing. He did try to get Mace sold on that. Mace just never bought into the idea. And now I think you're correct. It's too late. So what did you had mentioned Michael Thompson before, and Michael came up in the email that we were all exchanging about potential talking points for today. Is there something that you want to share about Michael, or are there questions you have about Michael that you'd like us to answer because we worked with him for many years? How do you guys want to handle the Michael Thompson?
It's a Michael Thompson AMA. He's just not here to do it. So you just essentially want us to serve as Michael?
Yeah. So I guess how this came about was, Jeanette and I have been listening to 710 and watching Lakers games and everything for years, so we're familiar. But we started talking about Michael in the group chat because a lot of our people aren't from the West Coast and aren't super familiar with MT, and just how strange this human being is in the best way possible.
Oh yeah.
And so, for those of us that weren't familiar with him, we were going to kind of hit on a couple things. Jeanette, you had some stuff you wanted to bring up about him.
Yeah. So the last I heard is he stole a pie that was taken into the ESPN LA studios. and there was a uncut fresh coconut cream pie and no one cut into it, so he's just like, cool, it's coming home with me. And then the next time they were on the air, they were giving him grief for, quote unquote, stealing a pie. I
mean, that's like a Wednesday for Michael.
Like,
I mean, I don't even know what you're talking about. Like, that's so uneventful in the grand scheme of Michael lifting things that aren't nailed down. Like, I honestly don't even know what you're talking about.
Like, honestly, you guys should have Matt Money Smith on, who worked with him for years. He will tell you a lot of great stories about Michael stealing things. But
we have had him on.
We did. Yeah. We should have asked him.
You didn't ask him?
Oh,
that's a wasted opportunity.
Foolish. Yeah, that was a swing and a miss.
Matt does a great, terrible impression of Michael. Like with this heavy, heavy Bahamian accent that Michael does not actually have. It's fantastic.
So when did this pie thing happen, Jeanette?
It may have been in like December or something like that. But like you said, it could have actually been
that
yesterday.
Explains why Andy and I didn't hear about it. But thank you for bringing that up.
I actually have a question about MT. Have you ever seen him go through his in and out process, or are you familiar with what his in and out process is? Because this is the strangest damn thing I think I've maybe heard about him.
Refresh my memory.
He goes to an in and out because, and he'll get a couple double doubles, but he doesn't trust the buns that they have touched at In-N-Out. So then he'll get them in his bed, and I guess there's an In-N-Out near his house now. He used to get them in LA, but then he'd take them home and then disassemble the double and have some specific mustard I think he liked, and then added some cheese. They didn't have it in and out, and then had his own buns that hadn't been handled by the people at In-N-Out.
Yeah, Michael is he's a tremendous germ freak. Like, he is a serious germ phobe. Like, when Staples eventually reopened enough that the actual broadcast crew could call these games, like, I joked with Michael. I told him, like, this is your dream scenario. It's like you get to watch basketball and there are these plastic shields up separating you from other people, and you have absolutely no expectations whatsoever to ever shake anybody's hand. Like, you can't even go near enough to do that. Like, this is your heaven. Like, I'm sure Michael wants the pandemic to end, but there's certain parts of it I guarantee he'd like to keep going. Like, there's a little part of him tiny bit upset about the vaccines and like their effectiveness, and they're starting to get out there. Like, a little part of him upset that we might go back to normal.
Last thing I had on MT really quick is the thing he does. Is it really true what he does in a hotel room? To your germ freak comment, like, he literally like puts sheets on the floor and everything like that.
To my knowledge, he takes a lot of very germ-phobic precautions when he goes into a hotel room. Yes.
And this is way pre-pandemic. Like, he was putting sheets on the floor just to walk around and stuff. Yeah.
Michael was the reason that there was a shortage of hand sanitizer when this all started. Like, that was because he had it all.
Yes.
So yeah, no, the precautions that one takes it's not new. This is all, Michael's been doing this for years.
There was a lot of, actually, I told you so from Michael. Like, his reaction was like, I've been preaching this shit for a long time and nobody listened to me. Now who's paying attention?
He's a Bahamian visionary.
He is.
Really is. He's a national treasure.
Hotels are filthy, disgusting places.
They're horrible.
They absolutely. I mean, Michael's also very much a creature of habit. Remember, Brian, when we tried to have him on the show, like, he was able to do it because he said he goes to bed at like 11:17 every night, like something like that. Like, and he wasn't kidding. He unfortunately couldn't do the show, though, because they couldn't figure out the tech end of it. He kept having difficulties with the wireless, and then he employed his wife, Julie, lovely woman, to try to fix the thing, and she didn't want to be on camera, and she was getting upset about this. And we think Julie hates us. I don't even know if I've met Julie, and I think Julie despises me and Brian because of this one incident. It wasn't our fault.
I've been hearing about her for years, and I just assumed the woman is a saint.
But wait, before
Absolutely.
we move on, let's all agree that that Michael Thompson, the minute he became a naturalized American, became the greatest American that this country has to offer.
Oh,
I don't think it's even close.
No question.
Oh, when 710 did that,
Absolutely.
they did a bracket where listeners voted, basically determining the most popular on-air personality. Like, when I remember when this thing started, it's like, Michael's going to win this thing in a walk, which he did. Like, it was not even close. I was like, Michael's going to crush the entire field.
Well, also like being like the first overall pick by the Lakers and hurt.
No, the Spurs, but he
I'm
ended
sorry,
up,
it's Spurs. I'm sorry.
or Portland. No, it was Portland.
He was drafted
then
by
San
Portland.
Antonio.
Ooh, fines all around.
Oh wow!
Come on,
That is
guys.
trying to hell.
Come on,
Big
guys.
idol.
That's
No, he's
terrible.
traded from this. Oh god, I screwed that up miserably.
Virtual fine bucket.
Go walk to the ocean, Jeff.
Yeah, I'll be back.
So there was one of the things we wanted to get into. One of the suggestions was you guys wanted to talk action movies as a topic. We love action movies. You guys do as well. I know that actually action movies is often a topic of conversation on Levitard. And we thought a good way to get into this would be the news yesterday that Elizabeth Banks is going to be directing a movie called Cocaine Bear for Universal. This is true. It is based on true events from 1985, where a 175-pound bear accidentally consumed over 70 pounds of cocaine dropped from a plane by a smuggler. Again, it was a true story. The bear later found dead of an apparent drug overdose. Let that be a lesson to everybody. It is just not safe to do 70 pounds of blow.
By the way,
one
none
sitting.
of the Bears' college roommates were at all surprised by what happened.
Actually, from what I read,
This was just Bear being Bear.
Well, it actually wasn't even clear whether or not like the bear overdosed from this specific cocaine incident. Like, we don't know like if this was just like this incident was a gateway to another time where the bear eventually
Foul
overdosed
play.
on heroin, different opiates. Like we don't know what the bear's history was before all that. So we'll look to learn more. But anyway, the exact plot of this is under wraps. Unfortunately, it turns out there's not going to be a bear fight in the movie, but we thought we could make it better by bringing up who would be a great action hero to take on this bear.
If you had to pick one guy, who do you send to go after the cocaine-fueled grizzly bear?
Okay, I'm gonna go all in with this one. This one is the nuts. This is Jason Statham from Crank.
Oh, that's on my list.
The dude is methed up already.
Jeff Chelios. Yes, he's going to absolutely understand like the mindset of a coked out bear, because every time he resuscitates himself, he's essentially on a drug binge. Like, absolutely. That is a great call, Chev Chelios.
That's right. I'm here
That's
to
right.
all the meth you got.
That was my choice. You've already taken my choice. I swear I thought I was going to get to the end of this and nobody was going to get my pick.
I'm telling you, that's the nuts. You're not going to get a better one.
It's not. You're not going to do better than that. Like, I challenge any of you, because like the guy has to keep his heart rate up or he will die. What gets you? What keeps you energetic? What keeps you going? How about fighting a coke-fueled bear for an hour? That'll do it. Okay, so none of you all are going to win now.
Beep count. Do that.
Beep did it already.
Do your Statham again.
You talking about this, mate?
Yes.
It's a limited fake Jason Statham. Right.
What would he say to the bear?
You want to fight? I don't think so, mate.
It's not bad dialogue.
A very, very, very limited fake. I mean, and that's action movie dialogue, right?
No, I mean, I love Statham, but you just did like a third of the lines he's ever done in a movie. Like,
In it.
all right, Jeff, who do you got?
Okay, so I was thinking about this a little bit. I was originally going to go Simon Phoenix from Demolition Man.
Ooh.
And the reason, my first thought was, Well, in the good year of our Lord 2032 in the city of San Angeles, certainly he would be able to update the knowledge of how to fight a coked out bear into his brain, which is how he got great at everything in Demolition Man. But then I realized, that's only 11 years in the future, and I don't think we're going to have collectively the knowledge as a civilization about how to fight a coked out bear. So I'm not sure he'd have anything to download into his mind. So then I kind of hit, and this is why I'm the Billy Gill.
By the way, you do get points for using the expression "Year of Our Lord," which is one of my favorites. Any other submissions?
Oh, I have some.
Oh, some multiple. Go ahead, Lou.
I'm gonna go off the board on this one. If you guys know this character and have seen this movie, you'll understand why. So originally, I was gonna go with Arnold Schwarzenegger from The Predator, the character from The Predator, because I figure the Predator versus a coked out bear is probably very similar. What you're gonna have to fight with, but I'm going with Anthony Hopkins.
Oh, from The Edge.
Yeah, it's because he's had experience with taking on a giant Kodiak bear that was stalking him for multiple hours. So I think that the wits of fighting a bear before, he'll figure out how to get him cornered. The bear will rise up and he'll fall on the stick and he'll just take it out using his pocket knife and a stick.
I remember years ago when that movie came out, I read this profile of Anthony Hopkins, who I met briefly one time years ago, and he was extremely nice and just really down to earth, very cool. But he was doing press for The Edge, and so the people in the presser, like the media members, were being like very art film snobby about this thing, and he could tell right away. And one reporter asked him, like, what drew you to this movie, Anthony? And he just said, the money. Like. And then like some other reporter asks him, like, so like when you're looking at your character, where exactly did you see the arc and the development? And he just goes, I don't know what the fuck you're talking about. Which was just hilarious. Because again, he's fighting a bear with Alec Baldwin. Like, that's the movie. There's nothing more to discuss. Like, it goes no deeper than that. Fighting a bear. That's all it is. Who do you got, Jeanette?
Well, initially I wanted to go off the reservation as well because
do it.
As an animal lover, I just didn't want to see this fight between a man and a bear. So I thought, who would be someone that could reason or attempt to reason with this animal?
Get it to coked out bear,
right? Get it to go to rehab, turn its life around, reunite with its family, forgive its father, its mother, whatever caused it to just go on this unhealthy binge. So I dialed up one Ace Ventura Pet Detective.
Oh, okay. I like that.
Yeah.
So you're looking for like a benevolent action hero. We know though that Ace can handle a car chase.
Yeah.
So if that bear steals a car,
and he can catch a bullet in his teeth.
Yes, he can. Yes, and he'll fight.
He'll put himself there in the mindset of the bear. He'll understand it. He was in Miami for a while, so he knows what the effects of cocaine can have. So
yes, he does.
He would be perfect for this, transaction.
La Chris Puete says, I'm sorry, said Dr. Doolittle. Another off the board.
Did you just call him La Chris Puete?
I don't know. I'm not sure what I did. I just
taught you how to read.
Pau Cristal.
How would you say it, Brian?
La Crispute or Crispute, but certainly not the way you did.
Okay. I mean, looks like a bit of a made up name. I mean, I feel like I can
but I'm just saying
the
letters in the order that they are have meaning.
I was trying to give it a little bit of flair, a little bit of panache. I mean,
here's my guess on that. There's a band called Law Dispute, so I imagine that maybe he is a fan of Law Dispute and he just changed out the dispute to Crispute.
I believe you mean La Dispute.
Do we have a fourth suggestion? Because I'm making a poll.
Ant, what you got?
So I was going to go with Snake from Escape from New York. I
That's
just
not
think
bad.
he's got
Pliskin.
you know, he's not going to overpower him physically, but he's going to be able to connive his way probably to, getting that bear in a spot that he doesn't want to be in and then finishing it. I don't know.
No, that is not bad at all. I mean, he's good enough to take on multiple sequels. Like, Snake has done it, and he's done it on both coasts. He's pretty good.
Hey, he didn't he storm Disneyland in the LA one? I feel like he did.
He might have. He might have. Brian, do you
We're
have
all
anyone
at that
besides
point now.
Chelios?
What?
Did you have anyone, Brian? Did you have anyone besides Chelios?
Well, I was, you can never go wrong with John Wick. I mean, he's very, and he was, you got to presume that if the shirt that he wears and the jacket that he wears can stop bullets, it would probably do well against bear claws. So he's relatively well protected, although bears do go for the face, which is one of the only places that he's not wearing anything. And never gets shot in the face, which I think is always a mistake on the part of the people in John Wick.
Just in general, like bulletproof vests in general. It's like, yes, this is very good and protective here, but can't they just aim up a little?
Hey,
this is a good question for Ron McGill.
This is actually especially with the cocaine element of it.
Mm-hmm.
But I have always wondered about that. I mean, maybe it's just because a headshot is harder to actually do than hitting the body. Like you've got a wider target with the body than the actual head, particularly if the head ducks, something like that. If they see a shot coming, that would be my guess in terms of.
If I'm in a situation where I might get shot, like here, give me a helmet too, bro.
Well, I mean, that would explain why riot police tend to wear those shields, stuff like that. A bulletproof helmet or a bulletproof hat would definitely a bulletproof fedora, something like that would. Fedora would definitely help. Yeah, Kevlar. I had, besides Chelios, that was my number one. John Otway, Liam Neeson's character in The Gray, because we saw him fight wolves already, and he took those on.
It's just the next step.
It is. It's the next step up. Dom Toretto from the Fast and Furious, just the progression of that guy going from boosting DVDs to essentially like the greatest Navy SEAL ever. He's really good at handling new shit that gets thrown at him, so might as well throw a cocaine bear his way. And then Kreese, Denzel's character in Man on Fire. That guy is a badass. That guy can handle anything. So he's high on my list.
I'm pretty surprised no one has said Leo from The Revenant. I mean, he literally killed a bear.
It's true.
He slept in a bear. I think
the question becomes, and this is where you really need a ruling, is that an action hero? Yes.
Yeah. And it wasn't a cocaine bear.
It's true. I mean, he could barely handle a sober bear. Like if you had him take on a coke-fueled bear, I don't think he's winning that one.
Mm-hmm. Okay, how about Wolf of Wall Street, Leo, versus Cocaine Bear?
I said coked up Leo. Good one, Chris Lapuete. Excellent.
Lapute.
Nice.
Lapute.
Nicely done. You guys hear them talk Levitard a lot about action heroes, about that genre. Stu Gatz, his obsession with Tango and Cash. If you had to guess who they would pick to take on the Cocaine Bear, who do you think they would nominate?
Rocky from Rocky 4. he's training in the mountains. He's in the mountains. He's training with the logs. He's got this. He's doing the pull-ups. He takes on Drago. That's it. He's winning. Sausage fingers everywhere for everyone.
I do love that movie. It's the greatest movie. I mean, it is the single laziest script ever written. It's probably 15 pages long. It's the only movie I've ever seen that has the montage followed by a montage. Like it goes training montage, Adrian arrives, and they go right back into a training montage. There's James Brown at the beginning. That's before you get into all the boxing scenes themselves, like all that stuff. Like there's 9 lines of actual script in this movie. It's delightfully lazy, and it's one of my favorite things ever.
And one of the best soundtracks of any of the Rocky movies.
Oh yeah,
for sure.
That one is the best.
Well, I mean, I believe it's got a Survivor song too. Yeah, because I believe that Hearts of Fire song.
Yes.
That is Survivor. They brought that back. Like they recycle everything. Like each Rocky just recycles a little bit more from the last time around. And 4 took everything that was just recycled from 3, that 3 recycled from 2, because 2 is essentially 1 with just Adrian in the hospital. Like it's essentially the same movie. It's really not that much different at all, but it worked. All right, so one of you guys, I don't remember who, suggested a game of movie poker. It was that beep count.
That was beep count.
Okay, so go ahead.
No, you had a question about it.
Well, I was going to say the way we decided to do this, because ultimately we were trying to figure out a way that you could actually advance rounds in this, is we would divide us up into sides, and one side would judge the winner of the other side. Then the next round, the earlier side would judge the winner of the next side, and then you would have 2 finalists going head to head as the best way to actually streamline the process and also be able to determine a winner from each round. Does that work for you guys in terms of the way we would play the movie poker?
Sure, that works.
The way I think
I didn't understand it, but that's okay.
Basically,
I'll follow along.
We're going to be playing movie poker by sides. So side A is going to be Brian, Lou, Jeanette, and Ant, with me, Beep, and Jeff judging. Then the next round is going to be me, Beep, and Jeff playing, with the other 4 of you judging the winner. And then there will be a winner from each side that advances, eventually declare the crown. The way the first round of movie poker will be played is, where did it go? Okay, a movie from 1998. The year is 1998, selected randomly by my wife, who had no idea why I was even asking her. I just had to pick a year between 1981 and 2020. 98, you guys each were assigned to create a poker hand of the best 5 movies from 1998, or the best poker hand of movies from 1998. Each of you will reveal your poker hand, and then me, Beep, and Jeff will determine who had the winning hand. Brian, go first.
I will go first. Okay. The hard one here is, what do you do with the one that actually won Best Picture, which is Shakespeare in Love, which is not a movie I particularly like, and think was wildly sort of overrated as a Best Picture winner. So I've left it out. My movie poker, my 1998 hand starts with Saving Private Ryan. Got a lot of prestige. It's actually a really good movie. It's extremely watchable, which you know because it's on TV all the time. Big Lebowski is number 2 in my hand. And then after that, I'm going Truman Show. And this is where it gets a little bit tricky. That 5th card, so that's 3. Is that 3 or 4?
Yes, 3.
3. I think I'm going in, and I thought about this for a while. I'm adding Insomnia into my.
You got the wrong Insomnia.
Oh, I did?
I believe you've got the foreign one, not the one with Pacino. You got the original,
right?
Not the Pacino,
exactly.
Robert, which you
what
have,
I intended.
No, you have
too
not.
Late to go back now.
I sure hope that movie's good.
What language is it in?
Danish. I don't know.
Danish or something like that.
That's one of the best languages that we have. And my 5th one, I went back and forth. Do I want another war movie with a lot of prestige? Because you got the Thin Red Line just hanging out there, correct? Yep. The American version of that. Mm-hmm. Or Rushmore, which I love. Or There's Something About Mary. Landmark comedy of 1998.
Correct.
And I filled out my poker hand. I felt like it was lacking in true sort of silly comedy like that, so I went Something About Mary.
Okay.
Norwegian, by the way. Norwegian,
Even
Brian, is
better.
Lou. Lou.
All right.
Your hand.
So I'm going to go with a comedy. I'm going to go with Half Baked because Dave Chappelle killed it during that time. And, fuck you, fuck you, fuck you. I'm out.
Boo this man.
We have that, don't we?
I see him.
Yes, we do.
Did Lou die?
No, I was just
looking at the picture.
I was just laying the picture. Next, I'm going to go with Rounders.
Excellent.
Thought about
Great
that.
movie.
It's another Big Lebowski definitely was on my list. I'm going to go with American History X, throw a little seriousness into that. And then
Was it really serious? Was American It's really a serious
Is it a
movie.
movie anybody ever is going to watch twice?
probably not. But I still like occasionally if actually, you know what? I don't remember the last time I watched it. But the last one I'm going to go probably has one of the world's greatest car chases, and that's Ronin.
Oh yeah, that is a great car chase. All right, Jeanette, your poker hand.
Okay. According to the internet, these are movies from 1998. Fear and Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas.
Yes, it is. Backcountry.
Elizabeth. Patch Adams. Rush Hour. And The Wedding Singer.
Those are, in fact, all movies from 1998. So well
Yes!
done. Have you ever seen Patch Adams?
Only the end.
It's catastrophically terrible.
I was
Oh
going
my
to
god! And it's depressing, and it's just, it's no bueno.
It's awful.
I did not see that one coming at all. Like you may have lost the poker hand specifically.
Did I really?
At least I picked the wrong version of a good movie.
All I hear is applause, merriment. I think I won that round.
Did you pick the Norwegian original version of Insomnia?
Norwegian Patch Adams.
Yeah.
All right, Ant.
Well, I'm gonna take what a lot of others had said and combine together, because for me, Rounders starts off my list as secondly Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas.
You're saving Patch Adams for the end?
I am. Big Lebowski, The Truman Show, and then I'm gonna go with the Dead Red Line over Saving Private Ryan just for personal taste. But
wow,
no, it's reasonable. It's reasonable.
All right, so now Beep, Jeff, and I, let's say we've got like 30 seconds, 15 to 30 seconds to decide this thing. We can talk amongst ourselves. Who do you think came out the best?
So Brian went in with the 7 deuce offsuit with that Norwegian Insomnia. He's out. Jeanette,
it was a
sorry.
mistake.
Patch Adams, you're out as well. So this is going to be between Lou and Ant. Very similar list there. I'm leaning more towards Lou because he did bring in a little bit of the marijuana, the cannabis culture with Half Baked. And who doesn't love Dave Chappelle?
Yeah. That movie has aged actually very well.
You in here for weed?
Ooh, this
Butternuts.
I will say though, in Ant's favor for me is the inclusion of both have Rounders.
Both have Rounders.
I think I'm going with Lou as well. I actually think Lou's list beats out Ant's by just a hair. Jeff, are you making this a clean sweep, or are you going to make a really strong case for Ant?
I'm not going to make a really strong case for Ant, but I'm just going to throw my vote in his favor anyway, because he's going to lose, and I want to give him a little sympathy.
All right. Well, Lou,
carelessness. The moral of the story: don't be careless and don't choose Patch Adams. All right. So the second part of this, before we get to the end, is now Andy, Beep, and Jeff make a poker hand out of Meryl Streep films.
Yes,
Meryl Streep films.
Overrated.
Sick of Meryl Streep. Give me a break.
This Meryl Streep. I mean,
all right, Andy, you start.
Do it in the Oscars. I am beginning with The Deer Hunter, 1978 Best Picture. I think the best war movie ever made. Meryl Streep, very, very good performance early in her career, Oscar nominated. Then Adaptation, her and Nick Cage, fantastic, absurdist film. She's really, really good playing the author Susan Orlean. Next, Postcards from the Edge. Not That Common Meryl Streep comedy. She is absolutely hilarious in it, basically playing Carrie Fisher. It's based off a novel Carrie Fisher wrote about her issues with drugs and growing up the daughter of Debbie Reynolds. Then I'm going with Mamma Mia, which is a fun movie. It's a crowd pleaser and it is gorgeous. That movie, I've never seen a movie make locale
Sunshine
look better. It's amazing. Then I thought about Kramer versus Kramer, which she won the first of her 3 Oscars. But then I realized, how often do I actually want to watch Kramer versus Kramer? And you don't need prestige to prove Meryl Streep's worth, because we know that already. So I'm going Julie and Julia, which is actually a really fun movie where she plays Julia Child. So those are my 5.
It's a solid list.
Leaving points off for not having Patch Adams.
Even though she wasn't in it.
Doesn't matter.
Meryl Streep.
Should have
Is it
been.
in a Norwegian
Would have
Patch?
elevated that project, I think, a lot.
She could have been Patch.
Or Adams.
Beep.
So I gotta admit something. I can't remember the last time I've ever seen a Meryl Streep movie. So this is going to be the Meryl Streep list, courtesy of Mrs. Beep.
Okay.
Number 1 is going to be The Devil Wears Prada.
Thought about that one.
Number 2 is going to be Julie and Julia. My wife is actually a fantastic cook. She actually has her minor in culinary arts. So that one is definitely on the list there for her. Number 3 was Out of Africa.
1985, I believe.
85.
Yeah, 84, 85, something like that. Number 4 was, Best Picture. Number 4 is going to be The Post with Tom Hanks. And then number 5 was actually, I think, the last movie that I did see with her, which is Doubt, with Philip Seymour
There's a
Hoffman.
light film.
Very
Extremely light, just something you can have your phone there right with you the whole time.
You
Popcorn.
do a double
flick.
bill of that in American History X, you are laughing your ass off.
Wash down a little Patch Adams. Jeff, that is a good list. Jeff,
That is, I say it, that is a really good list.
Well, I had quite a few of the same as Beep, actually, so this is going to be differentiated in the details, I suppose. I had Devil Wears Prada also. I had Julie and Julia also. I had Bridges of Madison County.
sorry you lost me.
I had Mamma Mia, and then Out of Africa.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
I will say this. I think all 3 of us made good lists.
It's a Meryl Streep movies. I mean, how do you make a bad one? All right, gang. All right, so it's
Devil or something.
you. It's me, Jeanette, Lou, and Ant. We now pick a winner, correct?
Yes.
All right. Ant.
So I'm leaning towards Andy. I really liked his list the most of the 3, although it was close. That's just sort of my the way I looked at it. I thought he led off very well, and I think he was solid throughout his list. And that's where I'm
Strong
going.
argument, Jeanette.
It's 2 a.m. out there.
I was not listening. Jeanette, it's your turn.
I'm having trouble between Andy and Jeff. Any inclusion of Mamma Mia has me torn. So no offense to Mrs. Beep, but
She's going to hear about this.
that's cool. So I would have to go with then Jeff, because he went with Devil Wears Prada. So,
All right. Lou.
All right.
tiebreaker, kingmaker.
I'm going with Andy because you guys have more Twitter followers, and if you guys follow me, and if I pick you, it's just all around better for me.
All right.
So I'm going with Andy.
Lou,
It's,
Lou, you're getting cut from the next episode.
It is at Stugatz Army 790.
Jeff, I've never seen any of these movies.
I swear to God, I haven't.
So you just made the list, and you just like, I've never actually seen any of these films. Like I was telling Andy, like I haven't watched a lot of them in a while. Like I haven't like popped Silkwood in the old VCR anytime recently. But I mean, that explains the lack of confidence in your list.
A little bit of Stugatz in everybody.
The Gotts is strong in Lou.
What you gonna do?
It's in his Twitter name.
That's true.
I'm sorry.
All right, so Andy wins. Now, how do we conclude this, Andy?
Okay, the conclusion, which is going to be me versus Lou. What was proposed by Beep Count was essentially a 6 degrees of separation between two actors who have never been in a movie together. And whoever can create the fewest degree, you have to connect them by actors, and whoever can create the fewest amount of layers for that connection point wins. I had to be on an honor system. I chose the two actors, but I've given it no thought. I basically chose them right before this thing started.
Meryl Streep and Patch Adams.
And I chose one actor who is on the rise now, but has not done many films, and another actor who has been retired for a good 10 to 15 years. So John David Washington, the star of Tenet and Black Klansman, son of Denzel Washington, and the great Gene Hackman, who has not done a movie since the great Welcome to Mooseport in, I believe, like 2002 or something. He really ought to come back to make one more. Just he needs to close out on a better note. But John David Washington and Gene Hackman, between me and Lou.
Can I go?
Yes.
I'm going to go with Crimson Tide, because I believe Gene Hackman and Denzel Washington were both in that movie.
Right.
Am I playing this game right, or am I not doing it wrong?
No. You're connecting John David to Gene Hackman, not Denzel. Unless John David and Denzel have been in a movie together, but I don't believe they have.
I think Brian might be muted.
Brian is muted.
Better?
Yes.
There you go. It would have made more sense, Denzel Washington and Gene Hackman, because it would have been a lot easier because they've been in more movies.
No, but that makes it too easy. First of all, you can't pick two guys who've starred together, because then
to do the same. I thought you were doing the chain thing where you try to, you name this with whatever. You're doing 6 degrees.
Yes,
right. Yeah, so it'd be like Brad Pitt was in. So if you're connecting, say, Brad Pitt to Tom
Move
Hanks,
along.
Brad Pitt was in Ocean's 11 with Matt Damon.
Can anybody tell me what country Crimson Tide was filmed in? What language is that? Is that an English language film?
I believe it was
Danish.
I hope so.
Lou, would you want to try again with John David?
Oh my gosh. I'm trying to think, because I mean, I think the only thing I know, well, he was in Ballers. And Tenet.
Ballers.
Man, I don't know. I'm trying to think. Is the only other Gene Hackman movie I'm thinking of is The Replacements. It's like,
interesting.
Yeah. Well, no, I mean, I made this intentionally difficult. And like I said, I have given this no thought at all. So let me see how I can do this.
John, did you say Gene Hackman?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I'm sorry. I got the wrong. Okay, never mind. Continue. I had the wrong Gene in my head for a second.
Gene Hackman, the Norwegian actor from Insomnia?
Yeah, I was thinking Mean Gene.
Oh, you mean Gene Hackman? I'm sorry.
Mean Gene Hackman.
Oh, this is much easier.
Oh, Gene Hackman. Okay,
right.
Different guy. Okay. John David Washington to Gene Hackman. Let's see. John David
Washington. 2 moves.
You can?
Mm-hmm. But I'll do it after you're done.
John David Washington was in Black Klansman with Adam Driver. Adam Driver was in God, what movies has he done that I hate?
Star Wars.
He was in Star Wars. He was in Star Wars with
Boba Fett.
Betty Davis.
Okay, Brian, what is it? I really
Yoda.
No, what's your two moves?
John David Washington was in Malcolm X playing a student in a Harlem classroom.
Oh wow, what a pull.
So John David Washington was with Denzel Washington in Malcolm X, who was in Crimson Tide.
Wow,
with Gene Hackman.
Brian somehow won this thing.
Hold on, I got one more. So
Okay.
John David Washington was in Book of Eli.
Yes.
Oh, so basically the key to this was to go with the movie.
Nepotism,
yeah.
So I guess I should have clarified some of the rules. I guess he had to be a credited actor, not an extra background actor, something like that. But sure,
No.
yeah.
Nepotism wins.
No, we're bringing this
the details
with Lauer After Hours and the Codys.
Yes,
Nepotism rule. So there you go.
It's like Steve Mason in A League of Their Own. Just,
Yes. Did you guys happen to see the art, by the way, from our show a few days ago? Steve Mason's original art.
Yes, I want to print.
Excellent.
Oh, this is amazing. Look at this. We had Mason on. We had no idea that he did this. What do you guys think it is, by the way, before we let you go? What do you guys think that is?
It's a profile picture with the beak.
Cocaine Bear.
No, it's a colorful zebra.
Gene Hackman.
Patch Adams.
Steve Mason watching the movie Insomnia, but the Norwegian version.
I've never seen any of these films.
It's his reaction to American History X.
It's him in a yoga pose. It's Mace in a yoga pose, and those are chakras, correct, Brian?
I believe so.
Oh man, Mason loves him some Mace.
Shocking it.
Mason does love him some
He had a
Mace.
painting phase that apparently lasted like a few weeks, and all he did was paint himself.
He also had a candle making. For real.
He was a chandler. Did you guys know that that's the word for a candle maker?
Yes, I learned it on last Friday.
With
I
us.
learned it yesterday.
God. All right, Lauer After Hours. Thank you. You guys have what, like 3-4 shows a week, something like that? I mean, you guys are constantly producing content, so everybody needs to be subscribing. Check out the podcast. Go shop. I was going to say for some merch. Shop.lauerafterhours.com. You got some hats. You got other stuff. It was awesome. It was awesome appearing on your guys' podcast, and it was great having you guys on our show, man.
Lou, hold on. Lou has something to say.
Before we let you guys go.
So traditionally, as most things, you're supposed to bring a gift when you join someone's podcast or when they join your podcast. So in keeping a spirit of welding hats.
Wait, is that true? Like, so we've been doing this show 5 nights a week for a year, and nobody's bringing us shit.
It's a thing.
We've had
it's a
hundreds
thing that we
of
do.
shows at this point, and
It's
nobody
a thing that
has
we do.
ever brought us anything.
It's honestly, it's a thing that we do on our podcast, and I missed out on you guys, and so I made up for it, and I got some little hats for y'all. If you can see it,
nice.
It says the late
Awesome.
night happy hour with 2 guys playing basketball that I thought was going to be kind of fun for y'all.
Wait, hold on. Let me see. Let me move that. Can I move you? There we go.
Oh, wow.
Look at that.
Oh, my God. Those are 2 really unathletic looking dudes.
Yes.
Which one am I?
I almost put glasses on one of y'all, but it was just too small of a detail to put
We
in.
could not be whiter.
Yeah.
You just made that?
Yeah, that's what I do. I mean, that's as you can
I know,
see.
but they objected when I called you a haberdasher.
No, that's what I do for a living.
That's
Oh my God, man, that's awesome. Thank you. That is really cool.
But I have stipulations. I need a follow on Twitter and then a retweet.
Okay, done.
Oh, that's because a haberdasher's not a hat maker.
Yeah,
That's right.
He's a welder of hats.
I'm a welder. No, we had Sarah Spain on, and she was like, "I saw you doing some back there. Like, are you like welding hats?" And so I have co-opted welder of hats as my profession.
I
Okay,
should have called you a Milner.
You have just been followed, my friend, and we will give you a retweet.
All right.
Wow.
That is
We'll
awesome, man.
We'll
Thank
definitely
you
get
very
those
much.
things out to you for sure, guys.
Yep.
Just get your.
I want to
contact
thank
info.
you, Lou, for doing that. And I also want to really take to task again, we've done like 200 of these. And apparently people have been supposed to bring us gifts the entire time.
I mean,
Yeah.
I'll say this, Lou. I mean, I hope you weren't giving us the hats just to try to win the game. Like there's Stu
I mean, I would not put it past myself to do that, because that's exactly what I would do.
That's awesome, man. Thank you guys very
That's
much.
awesome. Thank you so much.
That is super cool. We truly appreciate that, man. Thank you.
Sure.
It was awesome having you guys on. Tomorrow night, special time. Be aware, 9 p.m. Pacific. We're going to have Michael Lee, awesome NBA writer. The season's starting back up again, and we're going to get a look at what's gone on, what to look ahead for, buyouts, trade deadline, all that stuff. Michael is as plugged in as anybody who covers the NBA. So it's a dangerous game. So it's going to be a lot of fun. We will see everybody tomorrow. Dank you, Nederland.